Let's talk Chicago Bears fans. How are you today? Good to see ya. Sorry I'm a day late. Actually, that's kind of the story of my life. Day late, dollar short. I could tell you stories. The list is long. So that's cool. I will always do a show before the Bears games on Sunday, so you can never worry about that. I will always do a show the Friday, Saturday before, usually the Friday before the Bears games. And if they have a game on Sunday, I will always do a follow-up show on Monday. If they have a game like they do next week on Monday, then I'll do the show on Tuesday. And then I might sprinkle in a midday show, midweek show, a third show to really talk about what's going on around the league, not necessarily the Bears. So I'm going to start doing three, I think, a week because, I have so many fans out there that are just dying to see me, this face, and everything else. I mean, who wouldn't want to see that? Come on. All right, let's get serious. So let's talk about the Chicago Bears and the Carolina Panthers. They're going to Carolina. Um, to be honest with you, when I was doing stats and thinking about this game, I just don't know about this game. I had strong feelings about all the other games before, but this one, and I dare to even say it because I don't want to jinx the Bears, which is really actually not even really true. We all think that if we wear the same jersey, we sit in the same chair, we do the same thing on Sunday, that the Bears will win. But you know deep down in your heart, that don't mean a damn thing. But so we are 4-1. Carolina is 3-2. So that's kind of about the same. There are some statistics. I got to take my glasses off to see this. So they're kind of. I was looking at the power rankings for this week. So the Bears' power rankings going into this week, they're 13th. Last week they were 15th. And surprisingly enough, what do you think their weakness is? Let's think about it. Running the ball. You got it. I saw you back in the corner there. You yelled it out. You win. And then Carolina is 19th in rankings, and last week they were 22nd. So both teams moved up last week, and oddly enough, their biggest weakness, Carolina, is their defense on rushing. So it should be kind of interesting to see who wakes up. Will the Bears' rushing offense, wake up and take advantage of their weak defense, or vice versa? I'm predicting we're going to take advantage. I got a feeling, okay, this is Nick Foles' third full start. Now he's played, this will be the fourth time because he came into the Atlanta game. He won Indy. Well, the team won Indy, and we beat Brady and the Bucks last week, which is still awesome, isn't it? Wasn't it funny watching Brady going? It just made my day. So this is his fourth. This is his third full start, and to me, this will be the game. If he doesn't look better than he has in the last 2 weeks, people, it's not going to get any better. Okay, so this should be his breakout game, in my opinion. So I have a feeling it's about time the Bears start scoring offensively some real points, not points to win by 1 or 2 points. I mean, real points where the defense can be like, whew, and they can take a breather on the sideline, and we're up by 16, 17, 20 points going into the fourth quarter. The defense will love the offense because they've been really busting their butts. Defense is really the reason we've been winning these games. Of course, the offense will score some points, but the defense gives them the ability to do it. Um, so I'd like to see. I just have this feeling that maybe it's all going to come together this week, and see. It probably will, one way or the other, right? So on Monday I'll be saying, well, but I really do. I have this feeling that I think we're going to have a breakout. But the bottom line is, Voles really needs to show something this week. This is his third start. He's been with practicing now 3 weeks, strictly being the number one. So we'll see. Because if you've been watching my show, I'm not on the Foles bandwagon at all. I don't even. I mean, if you want to keep him as a backup next year, no problem. But we got to go out either get a new quarterback or why not trade for Sam Darnoldson from the Jets? That's something because I think that kid's got talent. He just hasn't been taught how to play in the NFL because he's had shitty coaches. But the only thing about going for Sam Darnoldson from the Jets would be is we'd have to give up a number one draft pick. But if you talk about that, the one thing about Ryan Pace, my son and I have talked about it, he's really good when he's picking on draft day rounds 2 through 5. He sucks at the number one. Look what he did with Mitchell. Sorry, Mitchell. I like you, but So maybe get give up the first round. Go get a quarterback that I think he might be good. He's just been messed up. He needs somebody to show him how to play in the NFL. And the Jets have not done that. They don't know what to do with him. And he shows such potential. And I think he's got it, but he needs to get out of there. I think he's going to be gone by next year, anyways, because they're going to go for as many number one draft picks as they can to try to rebuild after they fire Gase, um, and get rid of the GM and start over. But that's what I think. So, you know, if Pace is still here next year, he does suck as at picking a number one. So give it away. You got a quarterback. And if there's still a younger quarterback in the later rounds, go ahead and get him too. Because next year in the draft this coming up the year, we have to work on offensive linemen. So important. We really need that because we lost another one. He's done for the season. Daniels is done for the season, and that's going to hurt. That's the only thing that worries me about tomorrow is I feel like we're going to have a big game, but then I think, no, we're not because our offensive line sucks. But we'll see what happens, right? So, injuries, we're both in the same thing. I know Bush was limited again. I don't think he's going to play. We put the Daniels on IR. Now, Carolina has their best running back still out, McCaffrey, who was super good. And if anybody remembers, his father played in the NFL many, many years ago. So I always love watching, two things I love watching, because I love watching college football. Love it. And then I love seeing guys from college that I've seen play go in the NFL. It's kind of fun. And then I also love to see the next generations, to see if if they're doing what their father did, or if they're playing a different position, So um, his father's, oh gosh, I can't remember, but he was on offense too. But this guy's good, McCaffrey, but he's out, thank goodness. But problem being, didn't matter. Carolina didn't skip a beat. Their backup running back is doing just fine, thank you. So that that's a problem. And the Bears are not great on stopping the run yet. As we saw last week in the first half, tackling has been an issue for them. They've got to wrap them up. You can't just grab, push. You got to wrap them up. This is the sixth game, guys. There's no more excuses that there was no preseason. That is over. Okay, we're past that excuse. Tackle, tackle, tackle. If we tackle, we could good. Now we're pretty darn good on the passing, so I'm not worrying about that for defensively, but rushing I am. And the Bears and Carolina Panthers have played 10 times in the history since Carolina's been here, and we've won 6 and they've won 4. So we've got the edge there. No big deal there. So let's see what else I want to mention about what's going on. Thing about Carolina, a little tidbit for the Bears is, if you remember, back in 2012, we had a really good tight end called Greg Olson. And that's when Lovey was our head coach and Mike Martz was our offensive coordinator, which turned out to be a bust. And Greg Olson, I love him. He's a very solid, reliable, always healthy tight end. He could block, he could catch. And when Mike Martz was there, he didn't like tight ends. He didn't use them in his schemes, and he liked it. So they traded Greg Olson to Carolina. I was really bummed when that happened. I was really bummed. But throughout the years, and so, from what the Bears did from 2012 to now, the Bears did him a favor because he was on a much better team in Carolina. And now he's with Seattle. Kind of surprised he's still playing, but he is a great guy, great human being. I like those kind where they got a good backstory, good people. So, but yeah, that we did that. That was the one thing with Carolina. We gave him a really good tight end, and you're welcome, Carolina, for all those years of and this year they've got a new head coach, Carolina. His name is Matt Rule. So they're with new coaches. So they've got some new things. And Cam, as you know, went to New England. So their quarterback now is Teddy Bridgewater. And Teddy was with Minnesota a few years ago, if you remember, and he was the next up and coming quarterback, and then he hurt his knee badly. As a matter of fact, I remember the day that it happened. It was and they were practicing. It was during the week, and when it happened, they said the teammates were like, it was gruesome, and most of them some were crying, some walked away just like, I can't practice. No one even practiced anymore the rest of the day. They shut down the practice. That's how bad it was. And most people did not think he was going to come back to football for whatever how bad that excuse me, however bad that injury was. They were like, he's done. I have a little sip of my coffee. I got a really good story about this coffee mug, but that's another day. um So, so Teddy did come back, floated around. He was with New Orleans last year, and I'm kind of surprised they let him go. I know that New Orleans has the backup Hill to Drew Brees, which, in my opinion, this is pretty much going to be Drew Brees' last year. He can't throw the really long bombs anymore. His arm just don't do it. So he's more of a short passer. I mean, he's not terrible, but I bet he's done. And I'm kind of surprised that they let this guy go. They're putting a lot of stock in that guy who's been backup Hill. I forget his first name, but he's been the backup for years. He's the kind of the they put him in for those quirky plays, and he can do it all, this guy. So I don't know, but we're going to be facing Teddy Bridgewater, and he's a pretty good quarterback. Great? Not yet, but very serviceable, very good. So so now he's with them. Cam Newton's with New England. So there was a lot of shakeups with Carolina. So they're kind of building new again. So and right now, penalty wise, you know how I feel about penalties. If you've been watching this show, you know what I preach. And the Bears right now have the fourth worst team out of 32 with the most penalties. Fourth. That makes me sick to my stomach. That is lack of discipline, discipline, discipline. And it starts at the head, and it starts with Matt Nagy and the defensive coordinator. And you got to pound it into these guys. No. And you know what I do not understand, and I've been seeing a lot lately, some stadiums have maybe like 10,000 fans, and so they don't really matter. False starts. I don't get the false starts when there's no noise. Usually, false starts are when the linemen can't hear because it's so loud, and they miss the silent count or this and that. There's nobody in the stands, so what the f are you getting false starts for? And it's not just the Bears; it's all over the league. But so the Bears are the fourth worst in penalties. Fourth, 1, 2, 3, 4. I could count on my hand out of 32 teams, and Carolina's 12th in penalties. So they're not quite as bad as us, but they're prone to get those penalties. Um, and so that's kind of like we're going to have to see. So like I said, I'm really going to be watching Nick Foles this week. I want to see more rushing attempts. They better be fucking rushing that ball, pounding it down the middle. If they're worse on rushing, what do? You go after their weakness. Now you watch. If Matt Nagy comes out throwing, you know I'm gonna be like somewhere. Get me a gun or get me a knife, cause I'm done. So, but a little things. I wanted to talk about. One good thing is on the Bears is I've been reading a lot of Roquan Smith. He is our linebacker, and this is his third full year. And last week he did miss a couple tackles behind the line of scrimmage where he did not wrap up, where he just tried to knock the guy down or something like that. You can't do that. But the second half he came out, he must have gotten a lashing because he came out and played really well. But they were saying that he's really starting to do it. He's really coming on. So what they're starting to do is Danny Trevason is the play caller out there. And what they're starting to do now is they're giving more and more responsibility to Roquan Smith to see if he can start doing it. So Danny is kind of like his mentor. And I was saying to my son, because I was kind of surprised that they re-signed Danny last year, but it sounds to me like part of it is maybe there wasn't anybody else there that could afford because they were getting close to their cap last year, this off season, so they had to watch it. So, but Danny is like a good mentor to Roquan. So there's a lot of positivity with him. So we need it because the middle of our defense, the linebackers have been the problem this year. The the defensive line rocking it, and then the cornerbacks and safeties are pretty much doing their job. So really, we gotta. The one place we've never had problems in the history of the Bears has been linebackers, but now we do. So if Roquan can really step up, they said he's made such leaps. That would really help. So the next year in the draft, besides like I said, getting linemen, maybe a quarterback, depending on what happens, and then maybe we can get lucky and steal a lineman there. So, that's my player to watch in this game, and he's number 58. So keep an eye on him. Let's see what he does this week. Let's see each week if he starts to prove what the Bears think he can be. So let's hope, right? Um, I forgot to tell you, I'm wearing my Walter Payton jersey, best Bear ever. We know that. There he is. There's the man. He is to me. I think he's the. He never gets enough publicity. They always pick Jim Brown. Jim Brown was really good. There's no doubt about it. But the difference between Jim Brown and Walter Payton is Jim Brown ran out of bounds when people got close. Walter didn't. If you watched Walter, he would just hit them. He didn't care. He just ran over guys. And although speaking of that, on the Tuesday game when the Titans were playing, God, who were they playing? I can't remember. That can't even remember his name. The running back. You know, for somebody who does a show, she should really know the names of the people she's talking about, right? But the running back for the Titans, um, he threw down Hill, or not Hill. Oh, I just can't think of his name. Anyways, let's move on. I'm such a moron. I can't even tell a story. Although it is morning here. Okay, so if I don't write it down, I can't remember. But anyways, this running back, he threw Josh Gordon to the ground with one arm. He was running, and Josh Gordon tried to tackle him, and he just one arm, and he just boom, Josh Gordon, and Josh Gordon was embarrassed. It was. Oh, it was the Bills and the Titans. Thank you. The Bills and the Titans. And it's the guy who runs where he looks like he's got like a skunk's tail hanging out of his helmet. The way he ties his hair up in the back is pretty funny. So let's move on to stuff that I do know what I'm talking about. Well, so a couple things. I want to give a shout out to Dak Prescott. I was watching that game last week. That was gruesome. Gruesome. I have seen now. I saw when when Alex Smith a couple years ago broke his leg in Washington, compound fracture, 17 surgeries, almost died. He's back in the NFL. Crazy dude. Joe Theismann. It was on Monday Night Football way back in the day. I was watching that game when he had the same thing. He had pretty much the same thing that Alex Smith had, and both were quarterbacks for Washington. That's a little scary. Just saying. And and now Dak Prescott. You knew it was bad right away, and then they showed it. I saw a picture later where here's his, his leg, and everything's like this, and his foot was like that. Not a good sign. So he's out obviously the rest of the year, and I want to give him a shout out because you always want the good players to be hurt when they play your team, but you don't want it to last because that is just not cool. So, and the thing about Dak Prescott is he's on a contract year, and he played on the franchise tag because Jerry Jones wouldn't give him a contract. He wanted to make him prove it this year. So what's that going to happen for him next year? What's Jerry Jones going to do? Is he going to do the right thing? That's another option. Let's go get Dak Prescott. I'm sure he'll recover from this because it was his ankle more than his leg, but you never know. I mean, if he's healthy, let's go get him. He can. I mean, that guy. A couple games ago, he threw for over 500 yards. They lost the game because of their defense sucks. Dallas defense sucks. But 500 yards, I'll take him any day. So forget the Sam Darnoldson idea. That was dumb. I forgot. Let's go get Dak Prescott. If you don't want to pay him, we'll pay him. I'll be down with that. What do you guys think? But a shout out to him. And then we all know that Le'Veon Bell was released, which you know what? He's a dick. He should have stayed in Pittsburgh. I said this before. He would have made even if Pittsburgh didn't give him the base salary he wanted, you'd make it up in endorsements if you stay in Pittsburgh because they love you. But no, it's got to be buck, buck, buck. See, some football players play for the love of it. Of course, the cash don't help, but you know what I mean. So I heard a good line the other day on one of the, I think it was the NFL show or something. Total Access said, "You know what? You picked the Jets. You're the one that went there. Nobody made you do that. So cry us a river." So he made his money. He's going to get paid through this year through the Jets, and they couldn't trade him because he's got a weird clause next year where in 2021 if he gets hurt at all he gets a guaranteed $8 million. So no other team when they heard that was like forget it. So what it means is so he got released, so the Jets have to pay him this year, but then after that there's no contract. So then he can go sign with somebody else. So he did get picked up by this is I would never have guessed this team picked him up, Kansas City. I'm not even sure why they did because they have already a really good running back, and they got a couple good guys. Um, Tyreek Hill, and then there's the youngster. And it was like, really? I didn't see that happening. I know my son wanted him to come to us, and I said, nah, he's a cancer. He's a cancer in the locker room, you can tell. Otherwise, Pittsburgh would have kept him a couple years ago, and they wouldn't have played all those games with him, making him be a franchise tag player one year, and then he sits out the next year. If he were a good person and not a cancer, Pittsburgh would have paid him, and you know it because they're a good, smart organization. That's why they've won a lot of Super Bowls, and they're in the playoffs. In the playoffs most years, and in the running for the playoffs most years. So I believe he is out for him, Bell. He doesn't realize that there's no I in team. And in football, it is all team, team, team. So I don't know. Kansas City, I'm a little surprised, but if he plays like he can, then they just got a lot better. And we don't have to play him unless we meet him in the Super Bowl, and probably not going to happen this year. But we don't know. You never know. So that's kind of me talking about the Bears. Um, I'm ready. It's a 10 o'clock game tomorrow back in Illinoisville. Excuse me. It's a noon game back in Illinoisville, and it's a 10 a.m. here in Vegas, baby, the capital of the betting world. Although we're not the capital of much anymore with this COVID shit going on. It's not happening in Vegas like it usually is. But, anyways, and my last thing is, and I don't normally do this unless the Bears win, they after a win. And I have tweaked the Bears touchdown song. So I usually sing that because I have like one hell of a voice. And just as a joke, I love to sing, I really do. And anybody who knows me knows it. I just sing all the time. I'll give you a little peek into why I love to sing and everything is um, I believe that I have been reincarnated. This is my second life. And I believe that in my first life, because I love mob, anything mob. I have read it, watched every movie, watched every special, read every book. I know all about Henry Hill and Gotti and all those guys, okay? So I truly in my heart believe that in my last life, I was a girlfriend to a mobster. I think they used to call them malls. And because I was his girlfriend, he let me sing in a nightclub. And I wasn't very good, but because I was his girlfriend, I got to sing. So everybody had to listen to me. So it's pretty sure why, and that's why I know I was put back down on this earth to make good for my last life. So, because if you knew what I went through in my life for these last many years, you'd know. And I've atoned for anything I did in my first life. Trust me. My husband knows. God bless him. So, that's why I love to sing, and that's my little story on singing. So, but what I got to do today is because my girlfriend, a friend of mine back in Illinois, who I've known 40 something years, 40 years, her and her husband, good friends of ours, uh, godparents to my son, both her husband and my husband were in each other's weddings. So, we were close. We went through a lot together and had a lot of good times. And it was her birthday Thursday. And for family and special friends, I give out the gift of my voice. That's their birthday gift. And when you hear it, you're going to be jealous. And I do graduation songs, wedding songs. Sometimes people say to me in the family, hey, like my nephew graduated from college a couple months ago, and I did a graduation song for him, and he loved it. So I didn't. I wasn't. I was a little under the weather the last couple of days. That's why I didn't do my show yesterday, and I wasn't and Thursday. But I'm much better today. No, I do not have COVID. So I'm ready. So I figured, instead of sending her the video, I'll put it on my show and treat you all to this. And I know it's going to keep you coming back every week because you're going to want some more at Lynn and her voice and this face. Okay, so this goes to my friend Chris in Illinois. It's her birthday, so I hope you like it, Chris. Happy birthday to you. Cha cha cha. Happy birthday to you. May the Bears win on Sunday. Happy birthday, my sweet friend Chris. Go Bears. Happy birthday from Vegas, baby. Love you, my friend. Now, listen, I want you all to be kind to each other, take care of each other, love one another. Why can't we all get along and vote? My vote has been sent in, received, and counted. I got notification. Yeah, baby. All right. No more talk about that. So, go Bears. We're going to win. We want to be 5-1 tomorrow at the end of the day. And I will see you on Monday. So keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. Oh, boy.